I wanted to show you all this fight because it's just such a fun one and showcases all that Fear Ritualist has to offer really well, from its fear to its mobility and its tankiness. Anyways, let's hop into it. This encounter really just starts off with me fighting this Spellbreaker, and he's doing a really good job at blocking most of my attacks with his projectile blocks. The Spellbreaker makes some distance, and that makes me want to leave my Shroud, that way I don't waste a lot of the life force. I start trying to see what he's going to be doing next, and also trying to avoid his rifle, because Rifle Warrior definitely does a lot of damage, even with a Spellbreaker. I head in this time going to try to land some of my staff skills, which one does land, the other one does get hit with invulnerability, but I do see that there is a thief behind me, so I go into defensive mode in my Shroud and start trying to just survive, knowing I'm probably not going to be bursting both of them down. I see my Shroud dropping a lot, so I'm trying to make some distance, try to kite out the warrior as much as possible, using my sword leaps and also my spectral walk, using my heal, and then I'm going to be spectral walking back right after I get stunned. I go into my Shroud knowing that's the only way I'm going to be getting out of this situation, using my skills off cooldown along with my innervate skills to help keep life force up, and then teleporting off with my Shroud 5. Getting onto the bridge, I'm safe for a little while now. I start using my sword leaps to try to get away as far as possible. I'm kind of expecting the thief to teleport up, but he doesn't, so maybe he doesn't have the skill or he's just on cooldown. I continue to run, and then I look behind me and see that both of them are still coming after me. I exit my Shroud and then use my staff skills as traps, and when the thief teleports onto me, he does get hit with the Fear 5, saving me from a potential burst. I'm very surprised that that actually worked that well, but I continue to head over to the land, and now since they're beaching, it's a perfect time for me to burst. Trying to deal as much damage as I can to this thief with my Shroud skills, he does get pretty low, and continuing to auto attack and using the rest of my skills to keep life force up. When the thief jumps into the water, I can still continue to auto attack, and I do get him down. Sadly though, the Spellbreaker is just pressuring me too much to be able to jump into the water to finish him off. Trying to deal with the Spellbreaker, but he's just a bit too tanky for me and it's really hard to deal with him. In the meantime, the thief does end up reviving all the way, so I start using my sword leaps trying to get away, as well as my spears leap in water. And I can't forget to claim those rewards because they just popped up and were so enticing. The thief teleports onto me, and I'm all out of life force now, so it's pretty bad. However, I do get a lot of life force from that spectral ring that I placed down and he did run into. I teleport up the wall, now I'm a little bit safer, and I use my Shroud 3 to where I teleported, thinking that the thief would teleport up after me. He doesn't though, so now when they're taking the long way up, I'm just looking for a spot where I can use to my advantage, preferably with my fear. So I go onto this ledge, and this ledge is a pretty good spot to do so. So as I wait for them to get closer, the thief does teleport onto me, but he walks right off the edge. That could have been deadly. Next up is the warrior, and I put down my staff 5 and fear him right off the edge. Now he has to take the long way up, and then I can just fear off the thief as well with my spectral ring. I then get pulled right off the edge, but I'm still in Shroud, so I just teleport right up the wall with my Shroud 5. Again, making some distance along the wall with my sword leaps, just trying to make some distance when I can, and then the thief comes and meets me again, so I try to deal as much damage as I can with my sword skills, dealing pretty decent damage, and then going into my Shroud and using my Shroud skills. The Spellbreaker comes along, so I jump down the hill, but I do have my Spectral Walk, so I teleport back using it, and now the thief is all alone. So I start using all of my skills on the thief, trying to burst him down when I can, going into my Shroud, landing that 3-2-3 combo and stun locking him and finishing him off. Or at least getting him down. These stun locks are just so fun. He then teleports off to the Spellbreaker, and the Spellbreaker starts to revive the thief, and sadly he does use his projectile block, so my Shroud skills aren't working too well, so I go into my staff trying to land some damage there. I fear him off right before the thief fully revives, and then I can start dealing damage. The thief does teleport off from the Spellbreaker and probably saved me from him not getting revived. I continue to use all my Shroud skills, dealing as much damage as I can, trying to finish him off with a finisher, but the Spellbreaker does end up stunning me just before I can. The Spellbreaker runs over to the edge and actually jumps off, so now I'm able to deal with the thief without any interruptions. Using my fancy finisher and getting that cool llama dancing finisher. I then continue to head over to the Spellbreaker. Now that it's a 1v1, I'm much more confident. I head in using my Sword 5 for that Fear and my 2-3-2 combo, but sadly everything doesn't deal damage because he was using his heal. So I teleport off using my Shroud 5 and then land my Spectral Ring, getting that nice Fear damage in. I use my staff skills trying to burst him down, but now everything's on cooldown, so I'm just trying to kite him out as long as possible. I go into my Shroud, start using my 3-2-3 combo, getting him stun locked again, and finally being able to finish him off. Then using my fancy llama finisher to win the fights. I feel like that just showcased all of Fear Ritual's strong suits really well, and Fear Necros are just so fun to play. If you're interested in the build, the link to the build guide will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in one of these, and have a great day.